On this episode of Just Informed Talk, Q tells us that next week is going to be incredible as he alludes to the mother of all bombs being dropped with regard to the declassification of documents related to FISA. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start every episode saying thank you to subscribers because there's always new subscribers, and I'm thankful to everybody who has come here and hit the big red subscribe button. If you haven't already, please come do that. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you're notified when these videos get posted. Well, guys, the question is really starting to become not, when will President Trump release these declassified documents? But the question is starting to become, when will the mainstream media cover the information that's already been released as far as the text messages go and the whole premise for using the FISA court to surveil Carter Page, i.e. President Trump and his campaign. But before we go there, I want to let you guys know that's what we have ahead in this episode. And we're also going to talk about at the end just a little bit about why the president is telling us that he's going to declassify these documents and, how the justification is going to work, basically. But before we do that, if you guys want to get caught up to where we're at, I encourage you to come back here to the landing page, watch these last few videos. If you guys haven't seen this interview I did with Mark Bayless from the FCC. I really encourage you guys to go watch it. It's got a lot of great content. And also you can get caught up by watching the last few videos. And if you're scratching your head going, what's QAnon? What's this guy talking about? Watch this video. It gives you basically all the information you need to follow the topic, to do the research, and to get involved if you would like to. Or if you just want to get friends up to date on what QAnon and the Great Awakening are, I encourage you to share this video. That being said, guys, let's get right into the first. So the first thing is just pretty awesome. It's Q gives us a link to this person's Twitter account, and this person is Alice at the Real Trumperland, and she seems to be pretty notable. I don't know that I recognize her from anything in particular, other than she obviously is over here on Twitter, and she's got a good following. But this is a great post. So it's she's tweeting out, hashtag real search ban. It says retweet if you think it's time to lock them all up, and hashtag what I like in 4 words. And it gives this video here where you actually see it's kind of like, obviously it's a edited cut together where it shows all these individuals who are actually being picked up, detained, and it's just really interesting. If you guys want to see that video, I actually posted a different version over here on my Twitter account, so you guys can come check that out. But the reality is, Q's pointing us in this direction to say, this is what's coming, because the reality is we all know all of these people being mentioned in this video. You Clapper, you got Debbie Wasserman Schultz, you got John Brennan, you got all the way up to Obama, even Comey, the whole gang being basically taken down by the FBI, and that's what we could hope for, I guess, if that were obviously that's what the insinuation is. You would have to suspect. But that being said, the next post is even more interesting, and it's got a little bit more substance to it, and it goes basically like this. It says September 17, week of, right? So first of all, that's the upcoming week. For those of you who don't know or aren't up to date on what today is. Today's the 15th, tomorrow will be the 16th, and subsequently thereafter, the 17th will be Monday, which will be that week. And Q has the week of in metaphorical, in the metaphorical kill box here with the brackets and the bold. What that basically means, I think, is that something will be executed that week. Now, what will that be? I can't tell you, because we've had a lot of, kind of teasing about this declassification, but it's not necessarily teasing, because like I've said, we have so much information that's been released from the text messages. We have all of these new text messages coming out between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, where you're having conversations about, media leak strategies, and you're having conversations about how, you're happy that you're getting stories out basically on, the Washington Post about Carter Page and the FISA, or the Steele dossier basically, and spying on Trump. And obviously, these were all predicates for a lot of the illegal investigations that took place. But we're going to read an article, and I highlighted some incredible parts out of this article that I think Q wants us to realize, and I'm going to share those with you here in a minute. But it gives this CNN article here. and it's talking about the presidential alert, which will be a FEMA test of the emergency alert system that actually goes straight from the president to you, the individual, just like you would get your, one of those. We all get the Amber Alerts on our cell phones, or we all get the flood advisories in our area when there's, rain or bad weather or stuff like that, fires, whatever, wherever you are, really. And this is a system that's been in place, according to this article, for a while. But what's interesting is that it's never been tested. And President Trump actually plans to test this system tomorrow, or excuse me, not tomorrow, next week. And it should be on, or at 2:18 p.m. Eastern time. And it will be coming on Thursday, September 20th. And this will be headed as a presidential alert. And I think this is a great tool because can you imagine? It's just a great way to get around the fake news, the literal anti-America media. I mean, I can't even say that with any more conviction, because the reality is that what I've seen, what they've exhibited, the behaviors, the practices, the tactics that the mainstream media has used are some of the most unsavory and un-American I've ever seen in my life. It's basically like they're trying to run a third world country from their corporate bastions, but that will not be there forever. And this is a great way. Maybe President Trump could start using this thing and it's supposed to be for emergencies, and I'm only being facetious here, but the reality is it would be great. Because it is a national emergency. If President Trump were to say, Hillary Clinton, basically sold information to China. I'm just saying that would be a funny, it wouldn't be funny. I don't want to say funny. Excuse me. It would be a very, very enlightening thing to hear from the President of the United States, because it would be a confirmation of things that we've been basically speculating on for quite some time. That being said, this is just a piece talking about how, basically, I thought this was so funny. This is like almost them telling you how to avoid getting it. So you can expect to see the alert pop up on your phone at 2:18 p.m. Eastern, so long as you have your phone turned on or within range of a cell tower, and if your wireless provider is part of the WEA system. Now, what's so funny to me is that I think that was written in there. And I know that there's going to be people out there who purposefully go and turn off their phone, or go sit in a cave, or go sit out in the middle of the woods somewhere, and they're going to film themselves. I missed the message. It's going to be some new hashtag or something, because that's what they do. Meaningless, demonstrations of stupidity. But that is something interesting. So yeah, you guys, that's the article that Q's sharing. Now, could that be alluding to something else? I mean, really, what we have to look at on a more serious note is that sometimes these articles and these pundits, these people, especially when you look at people that work at CNN and other news organizations, could they be signaling to people? That's the real thing that you get really into the weeds on, but I don't want to really go that far as to just let you guys tell me what you think in the comments, signaling that there's going to be some kind of thing that's going to be triggered from that, or I don't know. But there you go. It says declassification coming, more incriminating text releases coming, dark to light, carpet bombs, Moab, Q. So obviously the text messages that we've talked about before, you have Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, talking about how they hate President Trump and how they, want to get insurance against him winning, and how, they're going to talk about a media leak strategy. I mean, they're basically incredibly incriminating text messages that the left is, it's so incredible to watch these people get up there and try to defend Peter Strzok and Lisa Page in their text messages, saying, we don't know that that's what they meant, or, I don't think you're reading this correctly. They were talking about stopping a media leak, and you're like, if you look at the context of these messages and you read them sequentially as they're being presented to us, there's no way you can read that as, yeah, we're doing our best to keep the media from leaking about President Trump. It's asinine, and I can't stand listening to people who get up there, the pundits on the left who make those wild claims that there's no there when we're reading the text messages verbatim, and they're just sitting there with their fingers in their ears going la la la. So there you go. Now, this is interesting right here. It's ICQ people. Q posted this graphic. What a great graphic. It highlights some of you great patriots out there who show up to the rallies, who bring the signs, who bring the shirts, who basically represent this movement that is a part of the next, the new American Revolution, where we're going to break the chains of the globalists and the basic sick and evil, twisted elite that have been controlling our country and our citizens for so long through their finance and through brainwashing, cultural manipulation, demoralization, and other tactics. But Q says, they want you divided. They want you divided by race, divided by religion, divided by culture, divided by class, divided by political affiliation, because divided you are weak. Together you are strong. We the people, where we go one, we go all. Q. And I could not concur more. This is a message we've seen time and time again throughout these boards. And what it really is speaking to is the fact that their strategy is divide and conquer. And that's why you can't turn on CNN for 5 minutes without getting, this complete divisive message of, us versus them, and, Trump's a racist, and Trump's a Nazi, and Trump's a fascist. And meanwhile, they're protecting Antifa, who's literally going out and using fascist tactics to suppress people's rights to freedom of speech, freedom of, the press, whatever. And the reality is, they want you to, they think that you're so dumbed down and or incapable of making these quality judgments that you'll just accept the narrative they present to you. But that's what Q does. Q breaks that narrative, breaks that mold, and tells you directly, this is what they want to do. They want us to believe that because we are a different race, we should not care for one another, that because we're a different religion, we should not seek to come together as fellow citizens of this great country, because we are different cultural. We've been raised, the East Coast elites on the coast, and the farmers in Middle America. They want you to believe that these are reasons for division. These are reasons for us to never be able to coalesce and come together as one nation. But the reality is, no matter what class you are or political affiliation, we're all a part of this great country, and we all have to work together to make it better. Dare I say, make it great again, but going even further to keep it great. So, look, this is really important to understand that that's the strategy they use against us. And then again, we have this Twitter post here from something pretty incredible. Running the race, to run the race, at to run the race, actually has this picture of our favorite general at the hashtag Eagle Council with some Q Patriots. Notice the napkin on Education for Libs. Bottle 2, it says, at Real Donald Trump, at General Flynn, thanks to formerly Young for letting me know. Now, looking at this picture, it's pretty cool, right? So obviously, this guy's definitely wearing a woke t-shirt with the O being replaced by a Q. Obviously, that's a play on what we do here with Q Anon. We wake people up to the truth, and being woke by Q is pretty big thing. But to have him posing here with the General Flynn, who is definitely one of the people who is on the good guy's side, in my opinion, having done enough research to this point. What's very interesting, though, is I think this right here, the napkin, I think that's photoshopped. I don't think that's real. If it is, it just doesn't look right to me. And a lot of people have pointed that out on some of the other boards now. Unfortunately, the Great Awakening board is no more, but there are other boards out there. They're gaining traction. They're going to take some time to really get up to snuff with what we lost on Reddit, which was really sad. But here is actually, a lot of people have been saying that the where we go one, we go all is maybe Photoshop, but it may be on the napkin. That's very possible. I don't know where this photo was taken, other than it's obviously with General Flynn, and it's obviously with this gentleman with the woke t-shirt, and Q is obviously pointing us to this for a reason, saying, together we are strong, together we win. And then Q. Now, the next one is an article, and I want to share some important stuff out of here. Q says, Panic in D.C. Q. Now, this article is very interesting. It is a National Review article, and it says, in the Russia probe, it's whatever. I don't even know. I think that's French, so I don't know what that says. But it's surprised some popular French saying. But it says, unseal the FISA redactions. We should be alarmed by what's already disclosed here, right? Now, there were a few takeaways from this. It's a pretty long article. I'll leave a link because I want you guys to come read it for yourselves. But my takeaways from this article basically are three big sections that lay out some pretty big facts. So we're going to start here with this one. I'm going to read. This is actually a quote from the article. It says, let's dispense with the tired claim that the Obama administration did not really spy on Trump and his campaign. Every one of the 4 FISA warrant applications after describing Russia's cyber espionage attack on the 2016 election makes the following assertion after 2 redacted lines. Quote, the FBI believes that the government, or the Russian government's effort to influence the 2016 election were being coordinated with Page and perhaps other individuals associated with candidate number one's campaign, unquote. And the article goes on and says, candidate number one is Trump. See the upper hierarchies of the FBI in the Justice Department believed the Steele dossier, or at least they said they did. The operating assumption of the Obama administration in the months before the 2016 election was that the Trump campaign was complicit in the Kremlin's hacking conspiracy. Otherwise, the FBI would not have made this representation to the FISA court 4 times, including twice after President Trump was already in office. So remember that, guys. When they took this information to the FISA court, they either believed, which is, I don't even know how, or they've convinced themselves to believe, or they just wanted to believe, the fact that President Trump and Carter Page were somehow connected in this conspiracy. And it was obviously the ruse, the guise, whatever you want to call it, that they used to get this warrant to illegally spy on the President of the United States. But here's another section of the article that I wanted to bring up that I thought it kind of, I'm giving you kind of the highlighted sections here that I think really have some really fascinating points to share. It says, so this is the article speaking again. It says, here, let's stick with the essential point. The use of counterintelligence authorities to conduct a criminal investigation of Donald Trump in the absence of a predicate crime. We've had a lot to say about Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein's failure to comply with federal regulations that require showing a factual basis for a criminal investigation, i.e., or namely, the reason to believe that a crime was committed, before appointing a special counsel, Robert Mueller. But Rosenstein was just riding the tide. The FISA warrants show that this practice of launching a criminal investigation in the absence of a crime long predated Rosenstein and Mueller. It was the modus operandi of the Trump-Russia investigation from day one when Obama's Justice Department and the FBI first targeted the Trump campaign. Now, listen to what that's saying. That's laying it out there that there was no predicate crime, meaning President Trump, there was no evidence at any point during any of this to point to the fact that President Trump was involved with Russian collusion, some sort of Russian conspiracy, if you will. Now, that being said, they used fake evidence that if they had done any 1 ounce of investigatory work, would have realized that they had fake evidence with this Steele dossier and other information. They used that information as the predicate for this basically a fishing expedition in order to investigate for possible crimes. But that's not how our justice system works. Our justice system works on the basis of you have to have probable cause to start an investigation. Just like if you get a search warrant, you cannot just start searching every single thing. There's a scope to what you can search. You know what I mean? So if you have a search warrant to find drugs in a house, you cannot go to the suspect's, neighbor's garage and start, poking around and saying, hey, you live next to this guy. We're going to look through your stuff and see if there's any evidence of his guilt, right? But that's the predicate. There was no predicate crime. There was only a predicate suspicion, I guess you would call it, without any evidence, and it was based off of pretty biased investigators, if you ask me. Now, here's the third part of the article I wanted to bring to you guys, and it's very interesting. So let's just listen to this. Here's the article. It says, Director Comey's testimony echoes the assertion in the FISA warrants about having prosecutive authorities weigh in. and Comey's testimony was expressly incorporated in Rosenstein's appointment of Mueller. The special counsel was given the counterintelligence investigation of Russia. That investigation itself was real, but its assignment to Mueller was camouflage because a counterintelligence investigation does not need a prosecutor. For Mueller, the Russia counterintelligence probe was a cover to conduct a criminal investigation of Trump in the absence of grounds to believe a crime had occurred. So, I mean, that's exactly explaining what I just said. They used this false predicate to basically just start a fishing expedition because they wanted to be able to investigate President Trump to, as it says here, it says the Russia counterintelligence probe was cover to conduct a criminal investigation of Trump in the absence of grounds to believe a crime had occurred. So because they couldn't find evidence a crime had occurred, they figured, why don't we open an investigation with a special counsel, and then eventually we'll find something, right? If that is the opposite of how our justice system works, because that is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. That's a violation of every concept of the Constitution that exists. Look, this is obviously a witch hunt. This is obviously a witch hunt. And how do I know that? Because the evidence is here. See, this is what liberals don't do. They don't accept facts. They don't accept findings. They don't accept this. They accept what you hear on CNN, where they hyperbolically charge you up and they basically look to mislead you and make you and they use their fake news as an excuse. So here's the thing, it just blows my mind. They create the news, they create the predicate for the investigation on false pretenses, and then they complain when you point out that the predicate for the investigation was based off of false pretenses. And they tell you that you're a conspiracy theorist, or that you're a deranged Pizzagate on bath salts. That's the best one I hear, So, look, that's what that is, and I think that's some of the things that I pulled out of it. But again, I'll leave this link down in the comments for you guys if you guys want to read that for yourself. Now, the last post from Q here actually lays out something pretty incredible, and it gives us kind of this. First of all, it's a document, right? And what is this document? It's an explanation of classification procedures, kind of. It's how you deal with classified information, and the document itself is actually titled, it's an executive order 13526, and it's talking about classified national security information. But the point that Q makes is to draw our attention down to here. And what does this have to do with anything? Well, when you read it, the first thing that comes to mind is declassifying the 20 redacted pages from the FISA document, declassifying the text messages that show Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and others involved in just in the worst kind of biased and impartial investigatory effort works, and basically putting together this whole hoax of an investigation, witch hunt, whatever you want to call it, or a fishing expedition. And then also to declassify things like the Bruce Orr interviews, where you could actually, could you imagine how much you can gain talking to Bruce Orr when he's telling you, oh yeah, me and Andrew Weissman were having, and Andrew Weissman is Robert Mueller's lead attorney in the special prosecutor's special counsel's investigation. But like, oh yeah, me and Bruce Orr and Andrew Weissman, yeah, we were just having a few conversations every day about, keeping him updated on stuff that should never have been being updated on, about his wife and Fusion GPS and Glenn Simpson and Christopher Steele and the Steele dossier, and, making sure that all their fake news worked symbiotically to give them the false pretense for basically illegally spying on the president. But it says here, classification prohibitions and limitations. In no case shall information be classified, continue to be maintained as classified, or fail to be classified in order to 1. Conceal violations of law, inefficiency, or administrative error. 2. Prevent embarrassment to a person, organization, or agency. 3. Restrain competition. 4. Prevent or delay the release of information that does not require protection in the interest of national security. So the president is actually compelled through these rules and regulations, if he knows that this information is concealing violations of law, concealing inefficiencies or administrative errors, or is being withheld to prevent embarrassment to a certain person, a struck page, organization or agency, FBI, DOJ, CIA, or to restrain competition, as in, as an advantage. But those first two are really the ones that stand out to me. And then they use this false pretense. This is why I think this is how they've been keeping it secret so far, is they've been saying that it's for national security. But if President Trump knows that the information does not require protection in the interest of national security, then he has a compelling, or rule here that is forcing him to release this information. So to me, all you have to understand is that this rule exists. Evidence that President Trump has and can declassify as the President of the United States exists. The redacted documents, the Bruce Orr interviews, what happened with Nellie Warren Fusion GPS with Glenn Simpson and Christopher Steele, what happened with Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and this insurance policy and these media leak strategies. This information the president is compelled to release. So that's pretty much where we're at with it, and I really I think that we're going to have much more to talk about in the upcoming week. But until then, that's pretty much going to close it out for that. But stick around for 1 second. There's a few things I want to get to before we sign off here. First, if you want to help the channel, come here, click the big red subscribe button if you haven't already. Helps out the channel big time. Really appreciate it. Also, if you want to share these videos, please come watch them, share them. Watch this FCC Insider. And a lot of people keep messaging me. They're like, Craig, have you shared this with Q or President Trump or Hannity? And I'm like, and I understand, obviously that's what the point of this channel is to get the information up. So I don't have those people's phone numbers. I wish I did. That'd be nice. But if you guys want to share this and keep making it louder and louder, I encourage you to share this on all of your social media platforms, especially this interview, because there's so much incredible stuff in here. Mark Bayless, what a great guy. He exposes this incredible way the IRS has been covering up for identity thieves and fraudsters for years now, and how they have over $1 trillion in a basically a secret slush fund where it's basically money that could be used to build the wall and to do a lot of other great things for our country. So if you guys want to get this information to those individuals, please share it, watch it again, do whatever you have to do, and I really appreciate it. So that being said, also don't forget to go down, leave your thoughts, theories, and insights down in the comments, because like I say, we try to have our own QAnon research board at the end of each one of these videos. But speaking of QAnon research video or boards, I tried to do something here on the website because, obviously the Great Awakening has been basically removed or whatever. And I know this isn't going to replace it by any means. But if you guys are looking for a spot to bounce your ideas around and to share information, why don't you guys come over here to justinformednews.com, and you click this Q research button. There's a forum here that I just kind of opened up. And if you guys want to get involved, just go start leaving your posts there. Hopefully we can build a little bit of a community to start talking about different things. Anyone out there, any of the Anons, any of that, you guys can get involved and do that. I know it's not quite fully anonymous, but you can do the research there and share your findings if you want with one another. That's just a cool thing. Also, don't forget to come over here to justinformednews.com and read the story that goes with that video that we talked about the FCC Insider, and share it as well on your social medias, because that's how we get the word out. So that being said, another way you can help out is to come over here and find me on Twitter, like I said before, at Justin_formed. You can come check out all my latest tweets. It's great to interact with you guys, and all my articles get posted here, all my YouTube videos get posted here. So definitely is cool for you guys to come check out and just give me a follow and show me some love over here, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now there's two other ways you can help out the channel, and they're both financially, and I really appreciate it. First, you can come over here to Patreon, patreon.com, search Just Informed Talk up here. Once you find Just Informed Talk, you will basically just go ahead and click it just like that, and it'll come to this landing page. And when you come here, you click this button to become a patron. It's a monthly donation, and I depend on you guys to basically support me over here on Patreon, because I do this 24/7, 365, and it is my career. It's how I support my family, and I appreciate everybody who keeps this channel alive with that monthly donation. Now, if you're not into monthly donations, I totally understand. That's why I made this GoFundMe page. It's gofundme.com/just-informed. And when you come here, you just click this button. You can make a one-time donation, you can make an anonymous donation, or a one-time anonymous donation, and I can't tell you how much that means to the channel. So that being said, we're going to actually sign off, leaving you with some words of encouragement, words of grace, God's grace, actually, because there's always this little segment at the end here, which I basically have called God's Grace is Greater. And it's where we talk about God and we talk about the light and the good, because there is so much there are so many great things that we can highlight in the midst of all this corruption and this evil and this completely sick and twisted world that we sometimes see, especially presented here through Q. I always try to balance it with the good message of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So let's listen to this. This is out of Matthew. It's chapter 11, verse 25. And it talks about how basically putting your faith in God is what makes the biggest difference. Putting your faith in Jesus, really, because he has provided us this incredible knowledge, and in that knowledge we can get rest. But it says, "At that time Jesus said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned and revealed them to infants. Yes, Father, because this was your good pleasure. All things have been entrusted to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son desires to reveal him. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. All of you, take up my yoke and learn from me, because I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." And those are the words of our Lord Jesus Christ. And, how they can help you in your life, I think, is to understand that putting your supreme faith in God is the first thing, the first step to leading a successful life, a happy life, a blessed life. You have to resign yourself to that trust, just as Jesus trusted in his Father as much as the Father trusted in the Son. And the Son is the only one who can know the Father, just as the Father is the only one who can know the Son. In that way, Jesus is telling us that it's about faith in one another. It's about having that love for God, having that love for our Savior and Messiah, and understanding that the Son's desires, if the Son desires to reveal him to us, that is our best and greatest gift. And Jesus does do that by allowing himself to be sacrificed on the cross for our sins. And it says, all of you who are weary, all of you who are burdened, come to Jesus and he will give you rest. And the best part is when he says, you've hidden these things from the wise and learned and revealed them to the infants. Meaning we have to come to it with a child's mind, a child's perception. How a child has an innocent view of the world. And in the same way, we have to come to it without our preconceptions of our own wisdom, but like a child ready to receive this great gift and this great message through God. We have to come to it with that same mindset, and then that's how we truly gain wisdom. That's how we truly gain our favor from God, and for our eternal salvation to really come to fruition. And as Jesus says, come and take up my yoke and learn from me, because I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will have rest. And he finishes it by saying his yoke is easy and his burden is light. It's like that the weight that comes off your chest when you when you show your faith to God, when you pray, and when you turn yourself over to God in everything that you do, and ask God to make you the best that you can be for him, so that you may be his humble servant, and understand that things are never going to always go your way, but they're always going to go the way of God's plan. And if you trust God and you put your supreme faith in God, that plan will be great. It will be blessed, and it will be something to deliver you. So if you guys are having any trouble at home with family, friends, loved ones, work, whatever it is, unburden yourself. Take up the yoke of Jesus. It's light, and it's easy, and it's got your eternal salvation. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I want to say thank you all for watching. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, now's a great time to do it. Make sure you come here, click the big red subscribe button. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.